Yeah, so let's continue to get reaction to this, and I'm keen to get your thoughts on it as well. Send us a WhatsApp on 072-110-5584 or give us a call on 010-594-6010. The question we're asking is the confidence that you have in the criminal justice system as we see all of this unfolding. To give us a reaction, we are joined by Law Society of South Africa's Nkosana, Francois Mvundlela. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Mvundlela. And I think this is such an important discussion because we've been watching this unfold for many years. And obviously with the acquittal, a lot of disappointment from organizations, even like the CRL Commission. But now the announcement from the National Prosecuting Authority that they are now looking at appealing the acquittal of Timothy Omotoso. I think to myself around what this says about how South Africans should view the ability of the NPA. Top of mind for you when I bring that question to you.
I think that it would be very fair, and good evening to you and to your viewers. And thank you so much for having us as the Law Society of South Africa. You would, members of the society would remember that key to our existence is the protection of the rule of law. And the rule of law in South Africa is such that it protects everybody who appears before our courts. And it is the duty of the police to make sure that they arrest anybody who has committed an offense. And it is the duty of the NPA to ensure that they present a plausible case out of which a presiding officer should be able to either find the accused person guilty or not guilty. So the NPA must be applauded for taking a correct step in following the rule of law and not going out to complain in the public sphere, but not do what the law requires them to do by appealing the decision they are unhappy with if they feel that they have proven their case beyond reasonable doubt that Mr. Omotoso must have been found guilty. That is what the law says. You are presumed innocent until proven guilty. And if they couldn't prove their guilt beyond reasonable doubt before that presiding officer, they must be able then to take the matter to the next level, and the next level is the appeal court.
Yeah, but there is the issue, and I'm talking now about your view on public perceptions and why they're so important. You've got civil society organizations like Sonke Gender Justice, for instance, that have come out to other media houses saying that, well, an appeal of this acquittal now is a little too late. What do you make of the importance of public perceptions and confidence in the NPA?
I can only hope that the NPA, looking at this, puts measures into place rather to ensure that such cases that have such magnitude are given to capable prosecutors who are going to do their best to ensure that they get the convictions that they are looking for. It doesn't help actually going to an appeal, whereas the matter may have been prosecuted by somebody who did not do their job. It is not the function of the presiding officer to help the state obtain a conviction. It is the job of the NPA to ensure that it proves the case. Sorry about the light.
That's okay.
It is just in my office where it is electronic. So
sure, we can still hear you. Go ahead.
It is the duty of the NPA to ensure that in allocating work for its prosecutors, it ensures that those prosecutors are capable persons that are going to prosecute the case to the end and get the conviction they seek. So it cannot be that all of a sudden they are going to appeal and hope that at appeal their case is going to improve. I can tell you now with your viewers that as long as you have not done your case the best way in that court, the appeal court may not actually come to your assistance for as long as the case was not done the way it ought to be done in that court.
Yeah. Then talk to me about the sort of preparation that is necessary from the NPA, understanding, of course, that in the judgment coming out of, that led to the acquittal of Timothy Omotoso, the judge, of course, in that judgment talking about the fact that the NPA did not prove their case beyond a shadow of doubt, which is, I think, very important. But also the issue of just how much effort was put into cross-examining some of the witnesses, the time that was allocated. So if they are to go through the process of an appeal, talk to me about the work that's necessary. You talk about the appointment of that prosecutorial team, but I'm also starting to think about whether or not they need to go back to investigative resources as put together by police.
Yes, you are so right. The investigative work that would have been done by police, it is the prosecutor and the investigating officer who would have determined which witnesses to call and which ones not to call. And the line of cross-examination of the accused persons or any witness in support of the accused person would have required that the prosecutor must understand their case as best as they can understand or like the outside of their hand. So to that extent, you are not going to reconstruct your case at an appeal. You must be able to be as well prepared to prosecute your case as it comes from the police. So the prosecutorial team that they put in after the decision is made may not necessarily mean that they are going to reconstruct their case and make it better before another a group of presiding officers. So if they have done it badly before that presiding judge, for obvious reasons, they can't reconstruct it now. If their cross-examination was inadequate, and I can tell you now that it is not even about the time allocated. The judge would not have stopped them if they were cross-examining for days on end. The judge would not have stopped them if they said they wanted a particular witness who was within the country. Even if you are outside of the country, we know that you can be extradited to the country to come and testify. So the system allows for everyone to appear before courts freely and fairly and be given adequate time to either defend themselves or prosecute their cases the right way in order to achieve the desired outcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take calls because I want to also get, I suppose, your assessment on the likelihood that that can successfully be done, considering just how long we've been watching the Omotoso trial play out. But let's take calls. 0105946010. Paul is calling in from Pretoria. Paul, good evening.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for calling.
You know, citizens of this country, we are on our own. PAPs and NPA, they are infiltrated by thugs, and they act with impunity. How do you explain this now that the police sabotage the case? Actually, they sabotage anything that comes before them. How do you explain this? The police knew that if Omotoso is not brought to court within 24 hours, the case will be thrown out of the court. They did deliberately, and nothing will happen to them. Nothing. So, how do you explain this? How should we do? As South African people, really, we are on our own. We led by thugs. The thugs are now in those positions, and they know nothing will happen to them because that is how this country is.
Let me ask you this, Paul. How do you think we turn this around? Because I think it's certainly important to give the criticism, but the confidence that we have in the criminal justice system, in the NPA, in our policing, incredibly important for a country that struggles with, very high levels of crime. What do we do to restore that confidence? What would you need to see? Yeah.
You remember those people who have been there before in NPA, like Abu Kwewi and then whoever they've been there. They left people there. They left incompetent people there, and those people, they are still angry. They sabotage anything that comes there because they are still angry. Remove those things. Remove those people there. Get new people who are willing to work. As long as we're still having such people there, we are still going to have this problem. How do you explain this? Now, how do we explain this? Remember that how many cases has been sabotaged? How many cases has been sabotaged?
Yeah.
So you can see that they are syndicates, and they are still holding those positions. Remove those things and put right people who can do the job there. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Paul. We appreciate your call. We're taking WhatsApps as well on 072-110-5584. So just as we continue our chat, Mr. Mvundlela, there's the issue around whether or not you see the likelihood of the prosecutorial team being resourced enough. And you certainly talk about the process of why investigations done by police would be important for this appeal process. And I think that what you've explained quite thorough and important. But there is the likelihood of success. Well, you've got an arrest that happened all the way back in 2017. You know, just how difficult that would be to have a successful appeal.
Well, the public statement from the NPA such that the part of their assessment of the judgment is that the presiding officer may have ignored the evidence as tendered by the state, and that is one of the reasons people can appeal, and therefore, on the angle of what they are going to adopt. They most probably may convince an appeal court that actually the judge may be ignored the evidence as tendered by the state. The unfortunate scenario is the fact that in a case of proving the guilt beyond reasonable doubt, you must be able to present credible evidence and be able to discredit the evidence of the accused, such that you are able to argue that on that very scale of beyond reasonable doubt, you are able to say we have proved it and he must be convicted. So their analysis of the judgment may lead them to conclude that actually an appeal is highly likely to be successful, and therefore let's go to the appeal court. They must still go to the very same judge to say we have prospects of success in an appeal court, therefore grant us leave to appeal.
Yeah.
So all those processes are as regulated by the law itself, and they may have to cross that line first of getting the leave to appeal, in terms of which if that judge refuses it, then they would have to petition the Supreme Court of Appeal for leave to appeal that judgment. So it's a process that society must be able to allow to unfold in terms of the law, such that whatever are the outcomes would be the decisions of the judges of the Supreme Court of Appeal if the matter ends up in the Supreme Court of Appeal.
Just as another blow to, and again, I talk about how the NPA is seen by the public, and that confidence, very important. You look at the matter of Moradi Cholota in that asbestos matter, and as that trial unfolds, you've got the trial also looking into some of the allegations that have been made by her own legal team, that there was no formal agreement with her as put together by the NPA in their declaration of 2020, that Moradi Cholota had agreed to testify as a state witness. So once again, some negative aspersion that is being thrown on the National Prosecuting Authority. I mean, does this speak to systemic problems of the processes simply not being followed within the National Prosecuting Authority and its operations?
I would be at a loss to actually comment on a matter that currently is before court. Whether the systems in the NPA works, I believe that the current director of public prosecutions is on record talking about the prosecutions of cases, particularly those that comes from the commission, and she's on record talking about the capacity that they have to build within the NPA in order to prosecute those cases successfully. So that, for us as the Law Society of South Africa, comes across as a need that she has expressed. So it is for her office to be able to say, on the basis of this analysis, how do we recruit people out of the legal profession who are going to assist us to align these things. The entire justice system requires that we be able to assist the process in order for us to build systems out of which society can have confidence.
Yeah.
The lack of confidence in the NPA would not bode well for the rule of law, because people would not firstly trust that even if somebody gets arrested, that person will be prosecuted correctly. So you are going to have a system in which one layer, even if the police gets trusted, the second layer is not trusted because of the maybe shoddy manner that they may do. Some of their officials may do certain work, and as a result, it may lead to the erosion of the trust in the rule of law. So it is important that the director of the NPA and everybody involved takes this public outcry to heart and improve the system so that that does not lead to the erosion of the confidence in the rule of law.
All right. Let's take a call. Denzel is calling in from Kimberley. Denzel, good evening.
Good evening, ladies.
Thank you so much for calling.
Good evening
Talk to
your
us.
guest.
Sure.
Now, ladies, you need a capable investigator or a capable person who takes down that when the case is recorded at the police station. That person must be capable. You need a capable and a competent investigator. And then we can look at a capable and a competent prosecutor. Recently in South Africa, we need a capable and a competent judge as well. So the whole system, people that are there must be capable and competent. And we've lost that. So we have to go back and fix the bottom, the foundation. Then we can talk about an NPA.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Denzel. We really appreciate it. Concerning that view that you share, of course, we'll take a look at a couple of WhatsApps that have come in as well on this discussion around a litmus test with South Africans. The confidence that you have in the criminal justice system, and particularly our ability to prosecute crimes in South Africa. Let's take a look at a few of those messages. Pastor R. Bayard in Gqeberha says the criminal justice system may need to give a special executive order powers to deputy presidents similar to the USA, so that laws that fail SA citizens in the broader sense can be amended rapidly to protect and give confidence in the criminal justice system. Interesting perspective, Pastor. Thank you so much for that. Simpewe says, good evening, a lady. Law in South Africa, that's a joke. Anyone thinking of committing a crime, they think of our lawless country. The ANC must be happy for selling our country to criminals. Shame on it. Simpewe, appreciate your input. Thank you. Sanjay Lachman of the FBI Foundation says, South Africa has the worst justice system in the world. They don't know how to make a ruling. It's sad how they are employed in wasting society's money. If one commits a petty crime, they go behind bars. But if one commits a huge crime, like stealing money, cases will only get postponed year after year. Thank you so much for sending in those messages. And we appreciate the time of our guest as well, Nkosana Francois Mvundlela, who is, of course, with the Law Society.